Welcome to Internet Anytime 9.5.
Woohoo!
As we were interrupted yesterday, why did your power went out, Daniela, last night in the middle of our podcast? Does that happen a lot in your neighborhood? It didn't happen. There was no like thunderstorm or anything in Inglewood, right?
No, let's not say where I live. But
I mean, I can say this. I can say the city that you live in. I mean, we live in Hollywood. You live in Inglewood. There's like,
I don't want people knowing the city where I live.
What it says it says Los Angeles literally on our YouTube tags. They know it's recorded there.
Los Angeles is fine. They don't need the exact city.
The exact city. There's literally 500,000 people that live in Inglewood.
I'm very protective about my identity and my location.
Then you shouldn't be on a podcast.
That's fine. I have to sign out now.
All right, bye.
Aww. Oh, don't go. Did we lose Jacob?
Why? What do you mean?
Oh, okay. All right.
I was trying to mess with my volume, but since I'm recording on this screen, I'm not able to leave it easily. That's okay. Or actually, maybe Zoom. I don't know. Does Zoom? I think it will keep recording. It's not recording like my desktop, is it?
Oh, what do you have on your desktop? What's open?
Nothing.
Yeah, no, it just recording your Zoom, not the desktop. I don't think.
That's a good question, but nothing.
Tab?
Nothing. I just don't want the podcast to go to my desktop instead of our thing. I want to turn up my volume. Here, we can look at my desktop.
Now all of a sudden he wants his desktop to be private, but he doesn't care about your location, Daniela.
I know, right? Look at the hypocrisy. The hypocrisy.
I don't want my thing to be private. I don't care. I just don't want to bore the listener by like having it cut to just my boring ass desktop instead of your beautiful faces, which is what the people are here for.
I think you should tell people I actually do live in Lakewood, California.
Yes, Lakewood, California. Didn't you move to Whittier recently? I thought you were in Whittier now.
I'm near Whittier. I'm in Lakewood. I'm not too far from Whittier, but yeah, I'm in Lakewood.
Okay. There you go. See, we cleared it all up.
So how's the power in Inglewood tonight?
I don't know how things are in Inglewood, but here in Lakewood, we have good power and it's all been restored.
That's cool. I love hearing all about Inglewood.
Why do you assume that all Black people in Los Angeles live in Inglewood?
Yeah.
I think we need to address that problem first. There are Black people in Lakewood, California, and I am a proud representative.
There you go.
Cool story. Well, great talk.
Okay.
Good times.
I feel heard.
Super fun. Super fun.
So anything important happened to you guys since yesterday, or like have you heard about anything?
Well, Daniela's power was out in Inglewood, I heard.
I don't like being typecast.
Did it get turned back on?
Yes, in Lakewood, my power did get turned back on.
Does that happen? Does that happen often in Inglewood?
I don't know how often it happens in Inglewood, but yes, in Lakewood, it happens every once in a while. I think a transformer blew.
Okay, I was hearing something about there was an article that I saw, but I didn't read, and I don't remember what it was about. But it was something about problems like electricity problems or energy problems here in LA, and something to do with refrigerators.
Well,
I like how you know the very vague details.
Yeah, like I'm kind of like I'm kind of like sad like that I even brought it up because I can't even remember any details. Like, what's even the point?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I hadn't thought of it when I was prodding Daniela there for details, but we do have these energy problems down here, right? But it seems like they've been more under control lately. It's not like we have rolling blackouts all the time, but I guess maybe it probably is related. If a transformer blows, it's probably because it's overloaded with people.
Probably.
Yeah.
I imagine because right now so many people at home using all forms of power, especially like space heaters and laptops and lights, probably overloading our grid.
Yeah, I didn't think about space heaters affecting like life here as much as air conditioners do.
Yeah, I'm
'Cause-
used. Yeah, I'm used to outages like almost every summer, at least once. The winter, I don't
Yeah,
think of it that too much. But I guess you're
yeah,
right.
because
Yeah.
some people are hot, some people are cold. But if it's 95 degrees, most everyone is hot.
Mhm. But it is cold in the winter, especially this winter. It's been cold. Everybody's got heaters cranking or space heaters plugged in. I mean, I have friends who have like 3 space heaters plugged in their apartments, and those are all like, those don't take a small amount of power. So,
Those take up a lot of power. That's a
mm-hmm.
lot of space heaters. I guess if you have multiple people in one home, everyone wants to be warm.
Mm-hmm. Or if you have like a 3-bedroom house, or not a house even, or whatever. Everybody's place is a little different, I suppose, or they have different needs. Sometimes I don't notice like what the temperature is, and I'm totally fine. And then somebody comes over and they're like, "What is wrong with you? It is freezing in here." Or
Yeah.
like this.
Case in point, yeah. Your place gets kind of cold, kind of freezing cold.
It does. It does. Like I'm in the room all the time, so I don't notice it. Then I'll step out there and I don't bother to put the heater on because I'm not using it. You know what I mean? Like why turn it on if I'm not gonna be out there and waste that electricity? So I just kind of leave it off and it does get kind of chilly in that
Do
in
you
that
stay?
front room.
Do you stay in your room because it's warmer?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot warmer in here, especially as long as I have the windows shut. If I have like one window cracked open or something like that, it'll just
Hmm.
make the whole room it'll just drop down 10 degrees, especially at
Okay,
night. Yeah.
that's understandable. Don't leave your windows open at night. You'll freeze.
Hmm.
Oh, but I do have something, guys, that I was reading earlier this week. They were talking about how the LA Curative, who is providing most of the testing for Los Angeles, the free testing, and they also contracted with the government to provide military testing as well. Now they're saying that as many as 10% of the tests that they give might give you a false negative
I
COVID
heard
result,
about this. I heard
which
about that.
which is interesting because, that means that they're saying now that you should probably get 2 tests if you want to be positive that you don't have COVID. But it's
They
like,
should just
isn't
give
it?
you 2 tests at once. Like when you go through the drive-through, they should give you 2 bags.
There you
That
go. There you go. That's something that I have had happen on set. They've given us 2 tests when they want us to work that day. We just get 2 tests so they know for sure that it works. But yeah, I know that this is something that isn't new. I remember when they were first starting to do the COVID test, they were saying that the tests were 90% accurate, which
mhm.
means 10% inaccurate. So this 10% isn't just new, but at the time, we were so desperate for a test. We're like 90% accurate, that's bomb. Let's get them.
Yeah.
And there were so many people that didn't even want to be tested. I feel like they didn't want to tell people, okay, you got to get tested and you got to do it twice. They're like, okay, just get the one, like at least get one.
I think that's a really good what Jacob was saying. Just give two people just give them the 2 tests right then and there. It forces you to take 2 tests. People don't have to worry about coming back because a lot of people, if you got a lot of people, they'll take the one test, but then you tell them you got to come back and take a second test just to be sure. They're not going to want to do that.
No, but
Yeah.
also I'm guessing because it's because of money, because these are free tests.
Right,
These
but
are
somebody's
Yeah.
paying for them. They
Yep.
cost money to somebody. They're not cheap.
Yep.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. These are free tests to us, but the insurance companies are paying for them or the county is paying for them.
Yeah.
And that would be twice as many. So if they're giving 1,000 tests in like a few hours, that means they're going to be doing 2,000 tests. And just imagine the backlog of tests that they're going to have if they have to do 2 for every person.
Yeah.
Right, they'll also get backlogged, right, because they have the same amount of people
Okay.
having to do
Yeah.
double the amount of work.
I didn't think any of that through. I just said give them 2 tests and fuck it. But yeah.
No, I'm with you, Michael. I think that they should give the people 2 tests because
But
at the
the
end
the
of the day,
logistics of it really, I could see how it could be difficult.
it could be a little difficult, but it's something that I think they should handle because on the other hand, you don't know that you have COVID or you test and you think you have a negative result and then you go and you spread it to people. I think right now the biggest factor shouldn't be logistics or money. It should be about trying to figure out, find the people that do have COVID, isolate these people so we can get our numbers down.
Yeah, totally. Let's see if that happens. Doesn't seem likely. But it's good thinking, good positive, wishful thinking.
I doubt it.
I'm hoping we'll see what happens with when they start getting more and more of these vaccines out. I was telling Jacob the other day, my sister got the vaccine because she's part of the first tier because she works in the care industry. So she got a vaccine.
Okay.
And now we're just waiting for. I've been looking online because they got like 4 different tiers or 4 different phases.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this. Like, who can go get it?
Phases.
Yeah. How
So
does that
like
work?
phase 1 is just like medical workers, people that work in the health industry, and then people that live like in nursing facilities. So like not just senior citizens, but specifically senior citizens that live in like in nursing homes.
Okay.
Because they're more at risk.
Yeah, because my parents are seniors and they can't just go get it right now.
Yeah, so that's phase 1. Phase 2 is going to be the rest of essential workers, plus anyone over 75, plus anyone over 65 that has what do they call it? Like a
pre-existing condition.
Yeah, pre-existing condition that makes them a risk. So that's phase 2, and then phase 3 is the rest of the 65 and over. And I think the phase 4 is essentially everybody else. And they say the estimates for phase 4 is it going to be their closest guess is spring of this year, and that's just a guess, and that depends a lot. Well, it depends on a lot. There's no guarantee on that. It depends on how many vaccines, if they still have enough, if they're able to make enough for when people get there, when we get to that date. And not only that, hopefully enough people from the other phases complete the testing as well, like the vaccinations beforehand. So,
I'd be interested in finding out how many of the people that are getting tested are going ahead with like the second test. So I imagine that there's some like error where people miss the second test, or like maybe you got the first test, the first vaccine, and then like maybe you got busy, and then you're like, oh shoot, it's been like 3 months. I was supposed to get that second one. You know what the window is?
The window was, I think, like they changed it. So originally, I think it was supposed to be something like I don't remember, but they changed it for something like 2 weeks from the first test to like 21 days, or maybe even further out than that to get the second vaccination. I think they're trying to stretch it out because I think they rather get everybody the first shot, try to get as many people with the first shot right away, and then come in with the second shot. Because instead of wasting not wasting, but instead of using the second shot on somebody that's already got the first shot, if you can make them wait a little bit longer for the second shot, they could use that shot potentially for a first shot for an additional person.
Get someone at least a little bit covered.
Yeah.
For someone. Okay, I understand that. But I just can imagine some people, for whatever reason, aren't going to get like the second shot. Maybe not because they don't want it, but maybe they got scared, or maybe they got busy, or they just forgot.
There's plenty of people that I don't think want to take the first shot.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of hesitant folks right now, or they've been misled, or they're just like, even if they haven't been misled, it's scary to some people. So they're hesitant to even take that first one. So that could be an issue too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's good. That's the issue. There's just anti-vaxxers,
Yeah.
Way too many people are refusing. And it's not even anti-vaxxers. It's just, now it's just normal to be like wary and say that, you're not going to take it in this country.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but I definitely want to wait. I don't want to be one of the first people to take it. I want to see like, okay, these people took it. What happened to those people? What were the side effects?
Well, I'll let you know how my sister's doing.
But that's why they already tested it. They already supposedly had control groups and tested it on enough of a population. That's how a drug gets approved. So that's the point. And it's people saying, unfortunately, that have that attitude of like, I'll wait and see, that makes the vaccine, unfortunately, ineffective. So it's a catch-22.
I have someone that's out here being with a lot of people. if you are someone that's, say, like your sister, caring for people, or even working at a grocery store, you're coming in contact with a lot of people. You should probably get the vaccine. But I can isolate, I can social
Well,
distance for like a few more months and see what
the thing
happens.
is, like I said, we're all of us, I think, I think all of us, we're going to be in that last phase.
Right. So
Yeah.
we'll
So
be
the
well in like
earliest,
5 years.
yeah, so the earliest we're even going to get it is in the spring. So we're looking at like maybe April, maybe May. And that's the earliest. So there's going to be plenty of time for us to kind of see if there is any kind of reaction. But like, I mean, it has been. So from my understanding, the way they did the testing for for these vaccinations the way they do every other type of vaccinations, and it was just as thorough. The only difference was the reason why it happened so fast was because obviously it was an emergency. So when they had different phases of the testing, during phase one of the testing, they started phase one, and before they finished phase one, they went ahead, like midway through, they started phase two of their testing of the vaccination. And if there was any problems in that first phase, they would have scrapped the second phase and started back from the beginning. But luckily they didn't have to. And so while they were in that second phase, then they started like the third process of testing for the vaccination in the middle of the second one. So they just kind of got to jump ahead on everything, but it was still thorough testing. It's still, and not only that, but there was just a lot of money poured into this vaccination because it was, it was necessary to get it as soon as possible. So it should be safe. It should be as rigorous testing as any other kind of vaccination that took longer to get to this point.
Right. Like if you've had
At
a
least,
vaccine in the past, like a MMR vaccine, or lots of people have had now, like chickenpox vaccines and stuff,
yeah.
that this is really not going to be any different.
And we know a
Okay.
lot. That like we know a lot about. I mean, not me personally, but the people that do this stuff, the smart folks. They know a lot about vaccinations and inoculations and that kind of stuff. So they know what they're doing. At least you have to. I assume they do. So
Well, I hope so because yeah, I have family members that are going to get the vaccine in the first round. So I hope they've got all their stuff together. So we'll
mhm.
see. I mean, as it goes, I'm not one of the people, like you said, we're stage 4.
Yeah. So
I'm
we're gonna
not
have to
even
be
a
waiting.
contender for it. So
We're waiting anyways. But that's the thing too. So because I was trying to find out these phases, when are they supposed to happen? Like if they had any dates on, what they the only date I
Right.
saw was a phase four one, and that was and that was very vague, just spring of 2021. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's why I joke 5 years, because I don't think they committed to any time frame. And of course, how
Yeah,
could they? But like, there's
that's
still
what
all
I
these issues with distribution and how many
I
yeah.
there
feel like
are.
I feel like just getting it out to the phase 1 people is taking a good amount of time
Yeah.
because I know some people that are phase 1. I know one person that got the first round last week, and then I know a few other people that are waiting to get their first round.
Hmm.
So
Jeez.
we'll see.
We'll see how it goes. I'm sure it's gonna be a shit show, but
Hopefully,
Yeah,
the numbers start going down soon. I mean, that's the only thing, is that the COVID numbers are literally higher than ever by a lot. and,
I
and
mean, we
so,
are coming off of the holidays where a lot of people got together or they traveled. They traveled less than usual, but people still traveled a lot, came in contact with other people that they may have not been coming in contact with, gotten COVID from them.
and I was reading earlier about that attack on the Capitol the other day, it to being a super surge like spreader event.
of course.
Oh, is that a surprise?
So yeah, you got to expect that numbers. I mean, because those are the type of people that don't want to wear masks and don't believe that COVID's even a thing. So
Were we
And a
talking?
lot of those people got on planes too.
Yeah.
yeah,
Did we talk about via Getty? Were we talking about him yesterday?
we mentioned him. Yeah.
Yeah. So he got arrested today
I saw that.
Oh
in
no,
Florida. Yeah.
not via Getty.
Yes,
His
he
name.
did.
He's
That's
got some
great.
super white guy name, like I can't remember. It's like Adam
Adam
Michael Christian.
Johnson
It's like
or
Adam
something like
Michael.
that.
Yeah. There you go. You saw
Yeah,
it too. He has
yeah.
5 kids.
Wow.
Really?
And he's
Oh,
like 34 or 5 years old, something like that.
He's 34? He looks
34,
old.
30,
whoa.
34, 35, yeah. 34,
I'm
He looks
35.
older than
old.
him. I
Yeah,
thought he was
yeah.
older than me.
He
No,
looks
Via
old.
Getty is in his mid-30s. He's a stay-at-home dad for 5 kids. in prison now.
I guess if you have 5 kids, somebody needs to stay at home. Like,
Totally.
yeah.
He's like the opposite of the lonely housewife who like went nuts, sitting at home by herself.
Oh, because he's at home reading all these conspiracy theories on Facebook, and then he's going crazy because he's got 5 kids.
Right. Or he's just like a typical Florida bro who's crazy anyway. So
yeah, Florida's got a lot going on. I'm not surprised to hear he's from Florida.
Didn't that guy that had his feet up on Pelosi's desk, didn't he get arrested too?
Yeah, he got arrested
too. He did.
Yeah,
let all these people go viral.
Totally. Yeah. That was like the joke about them too, is like if they would have just been wearing masks, it would have been like a lot harder to find them,
Well, they have technology where they can find you just from your eyebrows.
Right. But it's
like, we know those eyebrows.
It just like I don't know what the privilege or the assumption that everything was going to be cool. That I mean, all of them, they just went in, no mask. Not only that, people were going in there, they came out, they were videotaping. I mean, they were telling on themselves.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that kind of thinking where like they're used to just getting away with shit.
Right.
Did people assume that these were smart people?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Are these the smartest people we have? Most logical, critical thinkers of America?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the United States has turned into a fairly low IQ nation, where it's just really easy to spread misinformation. People really don't have a lot of knowledge about other cultures, other countries, even like basic United States geography. A lot of people don't understand. They don't care. They're proud of their ignorance.
Yeah, well, even
what more do I need to know? I don't need to speak any other languages or know about those people. I know about me and we're the best.
Well, like, I mean, look at the conservative, like the religious right, evangelicals. They're very against like education,
right?
Because
because it goes against their teachings, and not only that, like anybody that like educates themselves that tries to be learned, it has a potential to be able to kind of. They become more critical thinkers, and the critical thinking questions makes you question your religion, questions your faith, and that's something they really can't risk because they got to keep people in the flock. So they're very anti-education, and a lot of those folks too. They kind of run some of these people, like for example, who is in charge of the people that are in charge of like school boards or in charge of the textbooks or that go to these schools. So they have influence on a lot of that stuff, and they try to keep people stupid. And the government does that too. The government likes to keep people stupid. Republicans like to keep people stupid because that's how they maintain their control on folks. That's how the religion, like the GOP, they don't like the biggest risk to them and their power is when people start realizing a lot of things is a class struggle. Because when it's a class struggle, you stop looking at somebody for their colors or their beliefs or their their ethnicities and things like that. That racism is no longer there because all of a sudden you're uniting with them on a class structure thing. Like, hey, wait a second, I'm middle class just like you, I'm poor just like you, and I'm struggling. And all of us all together, we could unite as a front against who? Against the corporate and the top 1%. But they make us divide. They put all these moral and cultural divisions between us, and that's what we attack. That's what people look at, and it keeps us from finding out what we relate with, and it makes us just focus on what we don't relate with. So none of us could ever unite.
Right, and it's podcasts like this that are turning the tides, you guys.
Okay, but yeah, they don't want us to find the humanity in one another. They just want to highlight all of the differences. And yeah, like you said, the more educated you are and you go out and find the information for yourself, you don't just get told the information that they want you to know. You actually seek out information for yourself and learn the real truth. The more you question these religious institutions that will tell you things, and they're just like, well, why did that happen? How did that happen? They're like, just because. And if you have faith, you won't question it.
Right.
Yeah. Really love God, you won't question it. You'll just listen to what I'm telling you happened. And
And
it's like,
in our society, it's gone like beyond that. Obviously, you know, what happened just now is that they've succeeded in their sounding board, meaning that, you know, people like President Trump can say whatever he wants and people will just be like, yep, that's the truth. You know, they won't look into it any further. They don't have any of their own opinion about it. It's just like whatever he says is like, you know, that.
Yeah, his
And it's
word.
God's will.
Yeah, his word is gospel. You see that. You see that online. I see it online where they
like,
compare him. They compare Trump to God, or at the very least, like he's like the new Messiah, or he speaks for God, or God put him here for a reason, so he's infallible.
blasphemy. And it's like, if you don't want to have to learn things for yourself, you just want someone to feed you what you should and should not do. People, those kind of people love that. They don't want to think for themselves. They're like, who should I hate? Who should I love? All right, good.
Well, that's part of it too, that division, because there's a lot of people that are unhappy with their lives. So you try to to make yourself feel better, you like to attack the others. So you got to have there's some other folks, they got to be others. You know what I mean? Because at least my life might be shitty, but at least I'm not them. And that's what.
Exactly.
And they're really angry with their lives, and they're angry with the system, but they're angry, but they're attacking the wrong thing. But like that's why Trump got so successful, because he was able to kind of like really nail that anger, that hate that these people had, and he kind of, they fed off of it. That's the one thing that Trump cult has in common, is this delight in seeing other people hurt.
Yes. So the thing is, people want to feel superior to someone. They want to feel superior, and these people they may not have a lot of money or education. They may not have much, but they're like, at least I'm me, and I believe in this, and because of that, I'm superior to these other people. And the cult of Trump has given them a place to belong. Oh, I'm not doing anything really with my life, but at least I'm pro-Trump, and I got my pro-Trump brethren standing with me. And we're better than these socialist nut jobs. Like, we're not
those socialist nut jobs are the ones that are going to help them if they realized it.
Exactly. They're like, we're not cheap, but actually, you guys are the real cheap, because you're just following this guy. No matter what he says or does, you will follow him.
Michael, are you crinkling some kind of paper or something?
No, that's not me.
Okay. You guys hear that?
I hear it too. Yeah, I thought it was one of you guys'.
I didn't hear it. I was talking though.
Sorry, it was really loud crackling. That's why I interrupted you, because it was like
was
jarring.
it my sequence? I was moving.
Oh, maybe that's what it is the sequence. Your microphone's rubbing on the sequence. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It was like I couldn't hear talking.
I don't know if you heard me right now, but I said you guys'.
Yes.
Guys', what's that?
Well, it's the possessive form of guys.
Is it? That's not a word. I just made it up, right?
Yes, it is.
Guys'? You guys'?
This is you guys. G-U-Y-S.
And this is you guys'. That doesn't sound.
Form of the plural of guy.
I don't know about that, but okay.
It's a word.
I'm not very smart when it comes to grammar, so
I think Daniella's right on that one. We got 10 minutes left, you guys. Just want to let you know it's counting down.
Okay. What are you drinking, Michael?
Coffee. It was coffee. No alcohol or anything like that.
Did you have a Danish?
No, just a coffee.
Okay, that's cute. But yeah, the thing is, these people, they are perfectly happy with being told what they should do. And the fact is, they see that their time of being popular and having the freedom to speak what maybe they were already thinking about before, all these thoughts, speak this in the public eye and have someone tell them that they were right. They don't want to lose that. So they're willing to try to overthrow the current government system if it means that they'll stay in control.
Yeah.
Because while Obama was in power, they didn't have someone, they were still in the back. Like, oh no, you can't say that in public. It's not politically correct. You guys are wrong. But no one's telling them that in the pro-Trump group. They're like, you know what, brother? You're right. They feel heard. which is a little scary because
They do feel heard.
not what we
Yeah.
need to be hearing.
Um, so I wanted to mention real briefly that I just heard like about it, like right before we came on. I didn't get to read too much about it, but like the GOP just sent a letter. Did you guys hear about this? It's recent. They sent a letter to Joe Biden,
Okay.
essentially asking him to try to get Nancy Pelosi to back off on the impeachment threats.
Mm.
No.
Exactly, right? Like
No.
who are they to talk? They have no,
Oh.
yeah, they
And now they realize that it's like actually going to happen. Let me see. My friend
they
sent me
you know what it
something.
is? They don't want another impeachment because they don't want to be forced into a situation where they have to choose, where they got to put it down in public in a public hearing that they got to vote for either yes or no for him. You know what I mean? Because it's a lose-lose situation for him, for them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to vote against Trump because his base is going to attack them, but they also don't want to vote for him or to let him slide because it's going to look bad on them. They just want to like not to deal with it if they could. They just want to kind
Yes.
of just let it fly by.
But did you guys know that if he gets impeached, he will lose $200K plus of his pension for the rest of his life. He loses his $1 million a year travel allowance. He loses his lifetime full Secret Service detail, and he loses his ability to run in 2024.
Yeah, the biggest one for me is that he can't run for office anymore, and he loses that Secret Service detail.
Yes, because that's so expensive. And $1 million a year to travel on our dime. I'm not trying to have us give Trump a single penny.
It's a great way for the government to save money if they impeach him.
I think they should. I really think they should.
Yeah.
Well, they are. I mean,
they should have done it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, they did, and they're doing it again on Monday.
Well, they should have followed through with it the last time.
Yeah.
Well, we, the it was the Republicans. They're horrible.
Did you see more more facts about like some of the people that were killed in the Capitol protest? Like there was one lady who got trampled. She was like in her mid-30s, and she was carrying a flag that said "Don't tread on me."
Oh no, you're kidding! There's
No.
so much irony.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
So, I'm not gonna say it was great, but like if this was like 1,000 ways to die, that's definitely gotta be like wow.
And then there's the one guy whose taser went off in his pants, and it electrocuted his nuts for like a continuous 2 minutes, causing him to have a heart attack and die.
What? Some of this, it's like, people say, if I'm doing the wrong thing, God strike me down, Like,
well, these folks too, they're the cream of the crop according to them.
The police officer one is sad because somebody like bashed him over the head with a fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
And that's how they killed that one cop. And so, that's the death that is just the worst. The other people are fucking dumbasses.
Yeah.
I wonder what the Secret Service has. I mean, because people, not just the folks that were there recording themselves with their cell phone, but at security, they got to have cameras all over that place, right?
You'd think.
It's the Senate building.
They must have so much information. Yeah, they must have so much information to find these folks.
All of those people are going onto a watch list.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the flight attendant union, they were like calling to get all these folks like banned from their airlines. Like anyone that they could find, they don't want any of those folks to be riding on their airlines anymore.
Yeah, because they were having issues with people starting fights with other passengers. Even just when people were flying there, people were starting politically charged fights, and the flight attendants were having to break up these fights on the airlines. So now they said they're not going to be serving alcohol to Washington, D.C. or from Washington, D.C. But yeah, the flight attendants are done.
They ruin it for the whole group.
Bouncers.
Yeah.
There was a video of pilot like getting over the loudspeaker being like, if you guys don't behave, it was flying from Washington D.C. to Arizona. He's like, I will set this plane down in the middle of Kansas. I'm serious. If you guys do not calm down, and it's pretty funny.
I saw
You're
that,
like
and I'm
talking
like,
to 5-year-olds, really? That's how
Yeah.
it
that's how
sounded?
they're behaving. That's how they're behaving. And imagine the guy next to you is a staunch Trump supporter, and you have to fly with him for like a 4-hour flight, and
Yeah.
he's trying to get you to join the brotherhood. And you're like, oh my god.
Well,
And I get it off.
not just that. I mean, I could just imagine like those folks that that are like, sir, can you just put on your mask? I have it on, and it's like like on his chin or something like that, and
Oh yeah, the chin
and then it's
diaper
kind of like,
people.
and then you gotta think, do I gotta get into something with this guy now? And then
No.
I'm very like I'm a pessimist, not a pessimist. Like
Optimist? Pacifist?
no, I just a pacifist. Thank you. Yeah, you know what I mean. I don't like confrontation, especially like potential physical confrontation. Don't put
That's
me in that
exactly
kind of
how the flight
situation.
attendants feel.
Just wear a mask, man. It's not a big deal.
Yes. And I'm guessing that the passengers are calling on these flight attendants to try to help them out. And flight attendants are like, okay, can I sit down for a second? Like, I'm always breaking up a fight between Johnny and Timothy. Like, can we just all relax?
Goddamn Johnny and Timothy.
You gotta feel for those flight attendants, man. That
Yeah.
not only would the job be
Yeah.
scary because you'd be scared about getting sick all the time because you're on these
Oh,
planes.
yeah. So
and
you're
the
not
people
trying
are
to walk
jerks.
around this cabinet too much. And
Yeah,
Trump supporters, no Trump supporter is quietly trying to push their agenda. They're very passionately, aggressively trying to push their agenda. Like, oh, you don't follow him? You not believe in money and democracy? Like, oh, relax, dude. Relax.
You guys saw those anti-maskers like in Century City like last week, right?
I heard about that.
Yes!
Yeah, I saw the
I
video.
was like,
I
are you
saw a
kidding me?
I wonder how many of them were actually from Los Angeles.
Well,
Probably
I mean that
Daniella.
area, yeah, because in Beverly Hills there was a huge Donald Trump rally. I mean that area is Republican, Century
Mhm.
City and Beverly Hills over there. It is.
They had
Okay, 'cause I
these
do.
anti-masker events in Orange County. Like
All
these
right, 'cause
people.
I was
There, of course.
I was wondering how many like potentially were coming from like Orange County or from the Valley or from like big Kern County,
Mhm.
driving up here. I mean, Kern County is super conservative. Bakersfield and all that area.
They probably had some people coming, but like Studio City, very
Yeah,
affluent Republican area.
yeah,
They
you're
might
right.
not be like broadcasting it a lot, but that's just how they're voting.
Hmm.
Well, I don't know if Studio City is voting Republican. Do you know that for a fact?
It's a very affluent area. I'm guessing that they are.
I think they're donating to
Not
both
that they're
campaigns.
necessarily giving to Trump, but I've talked to people and they're like, well, I'm voting not for Trump, but for my money.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I think they donate to. I think they always donate to both campaigns. Just finding out whoever wins, and whoever wins, they just want to, be able to kind of scratch that. Get influence.